I thought that burnout would be a good subject to talk about today because I just came from a meeting and I felt so sad for it was the founder of an arts organization and she like you can just see it in her eyes. She is exhausted and she has not been taking a full salary for years. And so to me it just kind of came up like this is probably a good subject for us to talk about right now and talk about like budgeting for the future so that you are giving yourself a salary and not getting in that caught up in the what you created you now can't get out of because you're the full driving force that's not taking a salary, so you're not easily replaceable. And so it just kind of in me brought up having been that person that ended up closing my arts organization because I burnt myself out so much. Like, what do you do when you're in the arts world and you're running things to prevent burnout? And so I thought, like, what do you guys think, or what are you seeing, or what is most effective for you or
Well,
your clients right now?
I feel like the first one to call out is the classic cheesy, like, you're not alone. The
Yeah.
reason we can have these conversations and that it's so relatable is because, like, so many people are very burnt out using all of their resources to maintain their passionate work that they started. And, we are here to try and prevent as much of that burnout as possible.
What would you say is like a tangible way to do that? Mel, do you have any
Well, I
thoughts?
mean, what I always say, plan,
That's what
right? So,
I knew
so
you were going to
like,
say that.
yeah, so plan. I mean, the more you can plan ahead, I get it. It's hard. It's hard even to think 3 weeks in advance. I'm definitely in that mode right now. I bit off a little bit more than I can chew when it comes to things outside of work at the moment. Just take the time to do it. I'm currently working with a client right now on putting together plans for next calendar year, and this is going to be new for them. And it's going to be an interesting transition, and I'm picking dates, and I keep thinking to myself, "Oh, can they handle it?" And I'm like, "No, no, we're gonna make it work. We're
Yeah.
gonna make it work because once you get into the pattern of planning ahead and working ahead and taking that kind of big broad view of, okay, this is everything that's going on, this is the full plan, and then you chop it into some little like workable pieces, then it doesn't feel as overwhelming. It
Yeah.
starts that way, but it gets better.
It does
I
feel more
think,
manageable, I think. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think part about it starting that way of starting overwhelming is a very real thing to acknowledge and know that that's part of the steps to get to planning and having like achievable work ahead of you is you are going to have to double up right now, do the work that is immediate, and also start to think ahead and go, what do I need X weeks, months, years down the road, and
Mhm.
take the time to break that down into the achievable smaller bites so that way you can say, okay, right now I can do this small bite on top of the immediate work I'm doing, knowing that that far into the future, that one small bite is done and you're not gonna feel the benefit right now. I think is part of the like warning I'm giving. You're not gonna feel the
Yeah.
benefit right now. You have to commit to a little bit more work, but in the long run, you can think ahead and go, okay, well, 6 months from now, I'm really gonna be thankful that that list is done or that budget is done or that ad is created or anything.
Same
Yeah.
thing, actually. I think that as you said that, I'm in that currently. I am also planning out the next calendar year for a different client. And I broke it up on like actually mapping out a calendar for them. And today, all I did was go through potential playbill deadlines and started building out all of their playbill deadlines and put back like when the content is due, which then tracks back to when biographies are due, which track back like, and that is the only thing that I mapped out was just the playbills. Um, Last week I just did all of the shows and their performances. I loaded all of their shows and performances in for the next calendar year. And so I think like if you can take it in the tiny consumable bites that like every week now for the next 8 weeks left, like I will every week focus on really building out something for them. So it is overwhelming, but it feels less overwhelming, at least for me, if I'm like, all I have to do today is just load all the playbill deadlines and that's it. That
So
was,
their calendar probably looks pretty busy already then.
yeah.
How do you feel like you can then deal with the potential visual overwhelm of all those bite-sized pieces that you've created for next year that you'll open up a week in the middle of the season next year and go, okay, this is everything we got to do, and then feeling the threat of burnout again.
I would say you know me, I'm a fan of color coordination. Because when I open that, I'm only looking at one, like if I have all of our e-blasts are just orange, that's how we color code them. So when I open it, it's like it doesn't feel as overwhelming when it's broken into categories, at least to me. I don't know if that's how everybody else operates, but to me, that feels more achievable. And because of the way that I lay it out, I build in like mini deadlines or subtasks so it doesn't become overwhelming because I gave myself 10 days, to do this one little thing. And then I gave myself in between that another 10 days before the next version of that is due. And, just a little bit of wiggle room.
Instead of one big task of playbill due this day, you
Mhm.
see the small tasks of creating the playbill spread out in advance, and
Mhm.
then piece by piece, all of a sudden you're like, hey, we have a completely finished and approved and correct playbill done
Right.
by the due date.
Without anybody having to feel that complete stress and overwhelm of that last minute, like, oh my God, the playbill has to go to print tomorrow and we haven't finished. Like, no, we know when the playbill print deadlines are. We know when version one is due and version two is due and the final is due and when it has to go to the printer and when it has to come back from the printer. Like, we have all of that mapped out. So we know as soon as we're off, like,
Mm.
if we be behind for some reason. And when we give ourselves a little bit of extra room, then when something bad happens, there's still room without having a total meltdown freak out and not being able to handle what is, a fire that we know is going to pop up because that's what happens, whether it's a literal fire or, a metaphorical one, like that's what
I
happens.
thought,
Can we wax poetic about Asana for the minute
I
for a
know,
minute?
right?
Because like I love it. It has a great calendar view, but if you don't like calendar view, you can do a list view, you can do color coding, you can, create a main task. So like Lynette's example of a playbill, she's got this playbill, she's got a due date, but obviously you need all sorts of other parts and pieces, right? You need headshots and you need bios and you need cast list and you need production list. And she can put all those in there as little tasks with their own little due dates and assign them to people to give to her. Like, oh, it's good. It's affordable.
are we not spokespersons for Asana yet?
I know we should be, right? We should be, but it is free. There's a free version. I'm a color coder and you have to pay for the color coding, but I think it's only like it's $5 a month through TechSoup if you're a nonprofit. So to me, it's well worth that.
You can do a little bit of the same with like an Outlook calendar and a Google calendar too. Google's a little bit of a step up from Outlook. If you are bridging yourself, but I can't say enough about Asana.
If we're talking about burnout, if it's worth that $5 to keep your entire staff
Yes.
pulling away from that like separated
Yeah.
task list and fear and overwhelm, it's going to help so much. It's worth the
I,
$5.
I actually think that that is you just brought up a really key point that I feel like we don't talk about enough. And because we're nonprofit, half the time they're like, oh, we can just do that in-house ourselves. We can stuff the envelopes, we'll get the volunteers, we'll stuff the envelopes, we'll print everything internally. Um, but that costs time, a lot of time. Even if you have volunteers coming in to do it, there still has to be oversight. They don't have access to the printers. Like, to me, it is well worth sending it out to print and just having it done. Like, it is done, it's off your plate. And I think that a lot of times, because we're trying to save money, we don't think of the cost, the burnout cost that is associated with it. And it's better to just have it done and off of your plate and someone else, like it is now somebody else's problem than yours. So you can move on and concentrate on the next thing.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's somebody else's problem. It's somebody else who's an expert in it. So
Yeah.
let's
Oh,
let's talk
Mm,
about like mailings, right? If you're just doing like a mailing with a stuffer, so we are getting kind of that time of year where like donation stuff is happening and you've got a letter with an insert, maybe an envelope, right? And then well, a return envelope, a main envelope, mailing list. Like that's a lot. That is just a lot of moving parts and pieces. And these there are places, there are mail houses out there where they have the high grade printers so that it looks good, right? And they have the tools to put it all together and they can do all the mailing stuff for you. Because as somebody who spent way too much time at a post office trying to figure out how to organize postal codes so it would be correctly accepted by the main distribution center, I will tell you, I should have just spent the money and gone to a printer slash mail house and let them do it because yeah, that was a lesson learned of myself that there
Absolutely.
are experts out there for a reason. Let them do the work.
Mhm.
I actually think that, yeah, that's a really great point.
Yeah.
Whether it's a mail house or whatever. I have also been with rolling the bins and dumping all of the, like organizing by zip code. Oh, it was such a nightmare. Yeah,
Yeah,
like it is. Yeah.
I get it. I'm
And
not bashing USPS. They're an important part here, but they won't accept it unless it's perfect.
And we don't have time to do that right now. Like that.
No,
So,
not
and
when
whether it's mailing or printing or anything, it's the idea of like pick and choose your battles. Some things are going to be worth spending the energy and your manpower to do in-house, and other times go to the experts because
Mhm.
it's going to be more worth it to not piss off your staff
yeah, burn them out or yourself.
Or
or
yourself.
yourself. Staff being, it might just be you.
So speaking of the you and the staff, I think part of helping with burnout is a little bit about self-care. Making sure to take, it's okay to take a few minutes to have lunch, like
Mhm.
have a moment to eat, like and eat. I get it, we all eat in front of our computers. It has become a thing, but maybe just take a moment to if you are eating at your desk, don't be doing work at the same time. I don't know. Watch whatever is your comfort video of choice. Mine is cats. Um and
Like the weather.
yeah. Yes, yes. That cleaning carpets, that's been a new one lately too.
I like that one.
But yeah, take a minute. If the weather's nice and you can go for a little walk, getting up, moving, taking a moment of a break actually you'll come back even more refreshed and ready to start tackling a lot of those projects and hopefully not feeling as burnout.
Yeah. And I would say if you are a leader, if you are in charge in some way, shape, or form of someone else's workload, um, don't overwhelm them. Like, don't, how do I say this nicely? I don't think there is a way to say it nicely, so I'm just going to say it. There are certain organizations that build their growth on the backs of their employees, without any, um, like without any real investment in their employees' mental health. And like if you're burning through employees, if your staff is turning over fast, you have an issue. And I in my life, it's probably come from the top. If you are working, 15, 16 hours a day, and you're not taking time for yourself, you're probably projecting that onto your staff too. And that will never get you anywhere. That's like every time you have to replace a new staff member, you're starting over again. You're losing momentum. So I'd rather see you not burn your staff out, not boards. This is for boards to not burn your executive directors out, with these mass expectations. That people will continue to work this way because they're passionate about it. And I think that's one of the things that leads to burnout is the passion. And then people, when you feel passionate about something, you will do it sometimes, to the point of like complete
Burnout.
burnout, burn up, burn, all of it. So
Mhm.
yeah.
I think taking your people into consideration like that is something I've been thinking about this whole time too, as you're making your plans ahead of time, a year in advance, months in advance, weeks in advance. don't just sit down only you. And Lynette, I'm sure this is one of your steps along the way is to have people check those calendars and say, hey, I also need a deadline for this for my job, or I need more time to be able to effectively do this. And I didn't like the due dates I had set last year because I felt rushed with them.
Mhm.
So, in that same sense of workload, actually breaking down what is necessary and who is doing it, and let those people be part of the conversation. So that way, everybody's collective experiences can say, these are how early we need these deadlines, or this is all the little bits that I need to do my job well. So don't feel like you have to just guess or assume what all the steps are. Include all of the staff and all of the moving parts in it.
It also brings to mind too, like if you're planning ahead, then you know if you need additional support for a couple weeks during, your a holiday run or something like that, and you can plan accordingly for that instead of burning out and then everybody gets the flu and then
And then you're
nobody
even worse off because then nobody's working.
nobody's working. Yeah. As a person that worked Nutcracker, and Mel, I know you get this too. I was sick like as soon as the Nutcracker was over, every single year. Like every single year I was sick. And luckily I was then on vacation for that time, except that meant every year my vacation after Nutcracker was spent just like exhausted, sick in bed. Like it
Mhm.
happened all the time. It wasn't like like, nope, here it comes. Nutcracker flu. Like here it comes. Yeah.
Same. Although I wasn't off because unfortunately with my work, I had to continue on past the close of show.
Yes.
I had to
Because
close
end
the
of the year
books.
campaigns. Yeah.
Yes, and end of year campaigns.
Yeah. 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 Which I mean, in that in itself, like I don't want to go too far down that, but like we're still working when we're sick, right? Like,
That's a whole other soapbox to get on that
that
we
is
can
a whole other
get
one. We won't
that,
go
I'm
there.
sure.
But like,
Yeah.
so I guess that was a very long-winded way of saying what Megan said in the very beginning. You are not alone. But
Mhm.
yeah, like let's work as an industry to try and fix this. Uh,
Mhm.
like, I think it's super important.
You're not going to get a gold star and a gold medal by
Mhm.
your war stories of how hard I worked at this and I got so sick after that. Like that is actually not something to be very proud about. Lynette and I may have just shared that kind of stuff, but I'm not actually proud of the fact that I did that.
That was so many years that I did that, and I was not putting myself for like, like I wasn't taking care of myself. That's what that is. That is us not taking care of each other and
Yeah.
ourselves.
So as an industry, don't look at each other and say, well, they're pushing through it. Well, at what cost, right? So, supporting each other that it's okay to say I'm burnout and it's okay to say it's time to do less. It's time to, it's time to just focus on the priorities. Not everything is a priority, you know,
Hmm.
make the most of what, find those few things, make the most out of them and, and not burn out.
Hmm.
We're just wishing everybody the best.
The
We
best.
understand it, and if we can help in any way,
Mhm.
let us know. We'd love to
Yep.
help you plan ahead.
I was like, we do love a sauna. Obviously. So if you have questions, like feel free to reach out about how we utilize it or any of that. And we're happy
Mhm.
to just share that information.
And we
So
have lots of other resources too on
okay.
our website that you can check out and hopefully with some tools and just some ideas to help you not feel burned out, plan a little bit ahead.
Mhm.
Best practices. So thanks for joining us for this month in arts marketing. We hope that you gained some permission to take time for yourself. If you have any questions about anything, as always, reach out. We are happy to help.